How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. How are you doing? Today I am coming at you with a very late review of the Chelsea versus West Brom game that ended 3-3, a roller coaster of emotions for me. Bars. I I've been putting this off. I couldn't record Saturday. I was too lazy to record Sunday, and yeah, pretty much I just put it off. That's on me. If the mic sounds a bit different, I have a different one right now. This is only gonna be for like maybe a week, cause long story. But if the audio sounds bad or if it sounds a little worse, I'm sorry. It's a different mic for right now. We only, cause I have to deal with it too. We only have to deal with it for like maybe a week. Now I'm gonna make this one a bit shorter because in about 20 minutes the Chelsea Spurs game is on and I need to watch that as well. So yes, I'm a bit behind right now, but regardless, let's get right into it. Like I mentioned, this is gonna be a bit shorter. The West Brom lineup, let's get right into it. Robinson up top, Dangana left mid, Sawyers, Livermore center mid, Pereira right mid, Townsend left wing back, O'Shea, Bartley, Ajayi center back trio, Furlong right wing back, Johnstone in goal. I pretty much almost got that lineup to a T. I think I missed Townsend. I think that was the only one I missed. On the bench, they had Robson Kanu, Button, Phillips, Edwards, Field, Harper, and Kipra. Now for Chelsea, there's Abraham and Werner up top. Now, okay, the formation that's probably on your screen is I think a 4-2-2-2. From one source, the broadcast said 4-3-3. Straight from Chelsea said 4-2-3-1. ESPN said 4-2-2-2. So I just went with the 4-2-2-2 because then eventually Chelsea's also said 4-2-2-2. So I don't know. People always get the formation all weird or wrong, whatever. Anyways, 4-2-2-2. You have Abraham and Werner up top as the strikers, Mount and Havertz as the center attacking mids, Kovacic and Conte in the holding positions, Alonso left mid, Thiago Silva and Christensen the center back pair, James on the right, and Caballero in goal. I didn't write that down. That's weird. On the bench, Giroud, Azpilicueta, Barkley, Jorginho, Kepa, Tomori, and Callum Hudson-Odoi. Now, straight into the first half, sloppy header from Alonso leads to a goal. He heads the ball wrong, falls right into Pereira's path. Pereira makes a nice run, lays it off for Robinson, who had honestly, it's quite a good finish. I'll give him that. Credit where credit's due on that. The finish was very good for that first goal that they had. I will give credit where credit's due. It was a tight angle. He shot it past like 3 or 4 defenders and just tucked it away in that bottom right-hand corner from the left-hand side. It was a pretty impressive goal. I'll give him that, albeit it came off of one of our mistakes, but they still capitalized on that mistake. Now, in the beginning was a lot of sloppy passing. It was not at all good. Just wasn't good. Like for the first 15 minutes, we were struggling. We were struggling just to find any kind of fluidity, any flow to the game. We just couldn't really get into it. It took us a second to grow into it. 8th minute, Alonso gets a stupid yellow. The first 10 minutes, we had about one good chance, and I can't even tell you what it was because I don't remember. I think it was Abraham's first chance to cross in. That's a big maybe. That might have came later. Oh, no. That came in the 12th minute. And so we had one good chance in the first 10 minutes. That was it. Alonso, awful. He was awful on Saturday. He, rightfully so, got brought off. At one point, it was like the 34th minute or so, 35th minute, Azpilicueta started warming up. And I was honestly ready for Lampard to just bring off Alonso because he was awful. He just wasn't good. He was not good. He just wasn't good. Like, simple as that. He was awful that game. His indecision and his poor decisions were costing us. And the left side of our defense was just so weak. The left side of our team in general was just weak. It just didn't add anything. A lot of the left side between Mount, Kovacic, and Alonso was the worst. Kovacic was okay, and Mount was okay. But they didn't really add too much to the team. Whereas James is over here sending in crosses. Conte had an okay game. Havertz had a much better game than normal. Werner was fairly quiet. didn't have too much of an impact in the first half. You barely heard his name from the commentators in the first half. You barely heard his name. He had one chance off a cross from Mount and hits it over. Again, the cross from James to Abraham and the cross from Mount to Werner, those were difficult shots. Those were very difficult shots. And the way the commentators were making it sound, was that they were super easy and they should have finished them. Like, no, those are pretty difficult shots. They're not that easy to finish. So I don't blame them for missing. Granted, they were very good chances off of 2 very good crosses, especially. Right side of our team was much stronger. As I mentioned, much stronger than our left side. And then the 25th minute, poor control from Thiago Silva off a pass leads to a break. Yet another break off of a mistake. And they scored. It was a very poor mistake from Thiago Silva, whose jersey I'm currently wearing. Let me just flip around for you. You can see it right there, Thiago Silva. Because I really like Thiago Silva. And of course, it's the same jersey. But he did cost us on that one. Bad. It was really bad. It was a really bad mistake. It was very poor control. And off of just a simple pass, too. It was a simple pass, poor control. But for the first half, we were dominating possession. Even when we were struggling to get our passes going, we were dominating possession. We weren't really controlling the game, but we were dominating possession. Our passing started to get more fluid. We started making passes, and they weren't just incomplete. But then in the 27th minute, 2 minutes after that mistake from Thiago Silva, a corner comes in, and Bartley, their West Brom center back, is left wide open in the 6-yard, and he just taps it home. It falls. Well, it came here, and then I forgot who it landed with, and they just laid it off for Bartley, who put it in the back of the net. He was left wide open. I heard people saying Marcus Alonso. I know Lampard said Marcus Alonso left him open. Reece James, though, I'm gonna say Marcus Alonso because that is his side. That is more his side. However, one of the center backs maybe missed him and let him slip. But I'm gonna go ahead and agree with Lampard and agree that it was Alonso who lost his man. It seemed like nobody communicated to James that anybody was behind him. So I'm gonna go ahead and say Alonso's at fault for that one too. And that's the story of the first half. The first half wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It's just we had not one, not two, but 3 mistakes that led to 3 goals. They had 3 shots. They had 3 shots on target the whole game. Not even just the first half. The whole game. And they were all mistakes. They were all mistakes that led to goals. And that's the problem with the team. That was our problem last season too. The mistakes we make are fatal. They're fatal and they lead to goals. Now, so as soon as the 3rd goal went in, we started panicking. Bad. Like really bad. After that 3rd goal went in, the passes looked awful. We were stunned. We let the scoreline get to us. And we just started rushing. We started putting long balls in. And this is still in the first half. And I know we're down 3-0, but like we had no sense of calmness, no one to bring us back. It's 3-0, don't get me wrong, but the way we were panicking, it's crazy. The passes were awful, the dribbling, we were losing the ball too much. It was bad at the end of the second half. And we got stuck ball watching a lot. We were ball watching a lot. Too much. So then finally the whistle blows and we get to move into the second half. Now whatever Lampard told the boys at the half, the men at the half, clearly stirred something in them, because we came out flying and we came out continuing to dominate possession. Our passes looked top notch and we were just in their defensive third. We were in the attacking third for a large portion of the second half, which is exactly what I wanted to see. That's the thing. You take away those 3 individual mistakes, I'll give them the corner, because that kind of looked like they had that set up. But let's say you take away the 2 goals, Thiago Silva's mistake and Marcus Alonso's mistake, it's 3-1. Like, these individual mistakes you can't control, but at the same time, they're just such simple mistakes that we need to just get rid of. You don't see the other bigger teams making these kind of mistakes. And by that I mean Liverpool, let's be honest. Because City lost 5-2. And wow, that game was crazy. But I'm not going over that. Second half, we come out flying. We're dominating. Lampard brings on Callum Hudson-Odoi and Azpilicueta for Kovacic and Alonso, which I actually agreed with for the most part. Kovacic, again, he didn't really impact the game, but he also didn't really take away. He was just kind of there. He tried, is what I can say. Now, Alonso needed to come off 100%. That was a substitution. If it didn't happen, I would have been mad, honestly. So I was happy that Lampard recognized that and made those substitutions. Those were very good. Both players weren't performing too great. Right at the start, though, my thing with Callum Hudson-Odoi is his inability, and he changed it this game, and he did much better this game. His inability to let go of the ball. He struggles to let go of the ball to pass, especially when he, does a little juke on a defender. He gets overconfident and thinks he can just take on the whole team. However, in the second half, he did much better. His distribution and his play and his running at the defenders, it was all top notch, and he had an excellent appearance off the bench. Chelsea looked very dangerous. Werner was a little more present in the second half. He was a little more dangerous. He was pressing more, and you actually heard the commentators say his name. Like I mentioned in the first half, I genuinely don't think I heard his name from the commentators because he was just quiet. He was not in the game. Second half, though, you started to hear his name a lot more. Now, I think about the 60th minute, we had 41% possession in West Brom's defensive third. 41% possession. We were in their defensive third for a good chunk of the second half. For at least about a third of the second half. And I'd argue even more. Because we were dominating as we should have been from the start of the game, but we make those simple mistakes, and sure enough, we get controlled. Now in the 55th minute, a little layoff from Aspi towards Mount, and he has an excellent shot on goal. He just rifles it in the top right corner, and it's 3-1. Now at this point, I was like, okay, I still believed. I was like, let's just calm down. The end of the first half was not how we need to respond. We need to calm down, show some determination, show some grit. Let's get these passes going. And sure enough, Mount puts in the top right corner, and we get our first goal of the game. Now, the game, like I said, the game went how I thought it should have gone, where Chelsea were dominating. The second half is how the first half should have been, and that's how the game continued. For the rest of the game, we honestly dominated. And the way the goals came were interesting. So the second goal was Callum, and it was a quick 1-2 with Havertz. At first I thought it was Werner, but it was Werner to Havertz. I think it was Cho to Werner, or Callum Hudson-Odoi, shorten it to Cho, to Werner back to him, and then him to Havertz. I know Werner was in the play, I just can't remember how. But it ended up being Callum passes it to Havertz. He makes the run in. Havertz lays it back off for Callum. He tucks it away into the goal for our second goal of the game. We're right back into it at this point. And again, we are dominating. We are pressing. We are doing what we needed to do. However, one thing that we did struggle with in the second half were a lot of wasteful fouls and shots. Things that really didn't need to happen, especially shots. We were taking a lot of shots from 30 yards out. 25 yards out that, I mean, if it went in, you're the hero, but they didn't, so you look like a fool. I know Aspi had one in particular from about 30 out where that just went flying over the goal, and it was like a 3-on-4 or something like that against the West Brom defense. We caught them on a break, and Aspi just decides to take a shot from far out, and it just did not pay off. So that was one big criticism from the second half. Callum, again, looked really good. He was really, especially after that goal, he started really shining even more. Havertz put in a good performance, and then when did the substitution happen? Oh man, 73rd minute. I have it written down right here. The 73rd minute is when Giroud was brought on for Thiago Silva, and we shifted to, I want to say it was a 3-5-2. I'm still not 100% on that. It seemed a little bit like a 3-2-3-2. I think that's too many numbers. it was a weird formation, but the problem with it, and we almost got immediately exposed in about in the 5 minutes that passed after Giroud came on. We were getting pressed out wide because we really lacked protection out wide. That's why I was very confused about our formation. It seemed like a very skinny formation that just went right down the middle instead of. That's why I was very confused about the formation Lampard switched to, because like that we were getting pressed down wide, and there was like 3 straight attacks from West Brom where they just hit us out wide. I mean, they could have honestly probably scored a 4th off of one of those if they had played it right. So that's why the formation change was a bit weird. Then we settled back into it. We got pressed and then settled back into it. It forced us to track back and that costed us some time. That extra, like I mentioned, that extra like 5. It was like around the 80th minute when we settled back into the game and West Brom stopped pressuring and we went back to dominating. But it was a very weird decision. And then 93rd minute, the ball goes. See, so the handball rule. Okay, I know everyone was mad about this. The handball rule pretty much says that when it hit Havertz in the arm, that's not a handball. I don't like winning like that. Or not even winning, drawing like that. But we deserved it, sort of. Okay, no, we didn't. But no, not really. But at the same time, I just don't like scoring like that, to be perfectly honest with you. And it's a bit frustrating that it had to end that way. The rule, that wasn't a handball according to the rule. So that's all I can say on that. Hits Havertz, pass back, falls to Abraham. I forget how the sequence goes. It falls to Abraham and he tucks. He's right in front of goal. It's an open goal for him, and he tucks it away. And 3-3. Now I will say the determination and the grit that the boys showed was very, very impressive, and it's good to see that they have heart into the game, despite the fact that 3 mistakes could have easily thrown us out the game, and they really fought their way back. And I am proud of the fact that they fought their way back from 3-0 down. But this was a game that we honestly should have dominated. Those 3 mistakes shouldn't have happened. They shouldn't have happened. Simple as that. This is a game we should have won 3-0 comfortably. That second half should have been our first half, and we just need to iron out those types of mistakes. Those things can't happen. Marcus Alonso should not start again for a while. To be honest, he really hasn't impressed me at all in the games he started. He really hasn't. I'd rather see Azpilicueta. If we're not playing Chilwell for some reason, I'd rather see Azpi. Now Thiago Silva, though, I trust Thiago Silva. That's my thing. He made 1 mistake, but he really didn't look bad in the game. He really didn't. It was a big mistake, don't get me wrong, it was a crucial mistake, but he didn't look bad. And he's still Thiago Silva, so we have to give him a chance. This is still kind of our preseason. I hate to say it. This is our, 3rd game now? Well, 4th, counting the Brighton friendly. I think now's about the time we need to start heating up, and we need to really start getting into these games. No more excuses. We have had time to warm up. Unfortunately, there are still a couple signings that really haven't had a lot of game time. You know, Chilwell and Ziyech. Pulisic still is on his way back. Hopefully soon. Again, I don't want to see him at anything but 100% for his sake. But ultimately, this is a game that I'm not too happy with. I'm not too happy with it. If you look at the stats, if you just looked at the stats and not the score, we should have won this game. 706 passes to 169. We absolutely controlled the game. The possession, the shots, the fouls, the corners. West Brom had 7 saves. We had none, which isn't very good, even though because we conceded 3. But it's the defensive errors that we're still struggling with. We're still struggling with the defensive errors. We're struggling to put away these smaller sides. Again, we're struggling so much to work on these smaller sides, and it's just frustrating. It's frustrating because West Brom are on a downward spiral, and of course, again, who's the team that they fixed that against? Chelsea. And this was a problem we had dating back to last season, and it just seems like it's never going to get fixed. So I need to watch the Spurs game to see how we're going to play. I'll probably drop my review for that tomorrow, depending on when this gets uploaded and all that. But overall, I'm not too happy with the performance. But I'm happy with the fact that they came back and they showed the determination. but I'm not happy with the fact that we were even in that hole in the first place. That's pretty much my overarching theme here. Now, I didn't do this for my last review because I was so flustered by the Chelsea-Liverpool game, but a couple interesting facts about the game. So the last team to come from 3-0 down to draw the game was actually West Ham back in 2011 against Chelsea. Chelsea were up 3-0. West Ham came back to equalize 3-3. And another interesting fact, this was actually the first draw of the season. This was actually the first draw of the Premier League season, which is a testament to how these teams are performing. You know, I feel like teams are more than capable of finishing games off now. So it's really interesting. I'm going to be very interested by the end of the season to see the draw totals of how many games actually ended in draws and how many teams actually get affected by that, by, you know, not getting that point. I feel like the importance of the draw has been diminished over time. More so for the bigger teams, you know, a draw doesn't mean much to them anymore. But I feel like in the long run, if you're losing instead of at least drawing, it's gonna make a big difference. So we'll see how that makes a difference. But yeah, this game was frustrating. It was frustrating. But if you guys enjoyed the video, if you guys enjoyed this late review, I'm sorry I slammed my pen and my notebook. That was very not. That was very angry of me. I got anger issues when it comes to Chelsea and when they can't perform. No, not really. But if you guys enjoyed the video, that was very random. Please leave a like and subscribe. Leave that bell so you're notified when I upload. Go check out the socials. Instagram is @BlueHermit. Twitter is @BlueHermit1. Please share the socials with all your family, friends, everybody you know. Let the people know Blue Hermit's where it's at, and I'll see you guys later. Bye. My voice cracked.